My name's Akande. Been working with Marketo for quite some time and very excited to be leading out today's Mug Marketo user group. With us today, who's going to be leading the session, is Beth Corby. I'll let her introduce herself, but just to kind of give you guys an idea, we're going to be talking a lot about Marketo's target account management tool and all the details and nuances. So, Beth, yeah, feel free to introduce yourself and take us away.
Yeah, welcome everybody. I'm excited to be part of this today. My name is, like Akandi said, Beth Corby. I am a senior revenue operations strategist here at GNW Consulting. I've been working in marketing for, I don't want to age myself, but over 20 years probably. And 15 of those years I've been in Marketo. So I am a 3-time Marketo certified expert. I was a Marketo certified master, but that needs to be renewed, which I'll make sure that happens. And I'm also a 3-time subject matter expert, where I was part of helping to write the professional exam and also the expert exam. So I have 3 badges overall as a SME. I am on LinkedIn. I love posting on LinkedIn. I'm currently reading a book called Be a Unicorn, and I'm always posting about the chapters in that book. So if you're interested and connected, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to connect. And yeah, today, as Akandi said, we're going to be talking about target account management. So we'll dive into what is target account management. We'll talk about the importance of having an ABM strategy. We'll dive into the different components like the admin configurations, identifying your target accounts, segmentation and personalization, and then overall data management and reporting. I will do a recap on some of the best practices that I'll mention throughout. And then lastly, we'll have a Q&A session. Now, as we're going, I want you guys to feel like as this could be as interactive as possible. So feel free to put questions into the chat. Akandi will be monitoring those. And then we'll try to answer all those at the end of the session today. So let's dive in. So what is target account management? So you can look on the World Wide Web and find many different definitions of target account management. You'll see something in ChatGPT. Adobe has its definition. And I'm in upstate New York. Akandi was asking about where everybody's from. I'm from upstate New York. So I'm really like a to the point and direct kind of person. So when I talk about target account management, I think of it as being a tool in Marketo to help you identify, manage, engage, and measure your target accounts. I had a little bit of an argument, not an argument, but a conversation with a colleague this week where they were talking about how you don't need target account management. You can just create a bunch of smart lists. Well, to me, that makes things very manual in nature. Target account management tool is going to help you eliminate the need to create hundreds and maybe even thousands of different smart lists and reports where you can have it all in the tool and it's more efficient overall. So it's overall a really great tool to use for managing your accounts overall. Some of the benefits to the target account management tool here are improved focus. So working with your sales team and prioritizing the most valuable accounts will help focus who they're supposed to be working on and working with. Increased alignment. So part of a good ABM strategy, you not only want to have alignment around sales and marketing, which everybody talks about, but also as in the organization as a whole. You want to make sure everybody's aligned on your methodology for managing accounts. You're going to have the ability for enhanced personalization. So making sure you're sending the right message to the right audience in a more impactful and meaningful way. You're going to have increased ROI. So with that main focus on these high value accounts, you're going to definitely have higher conversion rates. You're going to be able to improve your account insights overall. So having those robust analytics and reporting features, and they're going to be able to give you valuable insights into each account. And then lastly, the target account management tool is meant to be very scalable in nature. So if your business grows and you have some changes in accounts, it's going to be very easy to adjust things as needed within the tool itself So overall, just making it scalable in nature. So those are the main benefits. I'm sure there's more. But I want to also talk about, now that you have this tool, it's really important to understand that the tool is not a strategy. So before you even purchase any tool for that matter for ABM, it's really important to make sure that you have a strategy. A lot of you may be thinking, why is she saying this? Well, you would be amazed with the amount of people that I've seen purchase ABM tools and not have any strategy around it whatsoever. So it's really important to make sure that you have an ABM strategy before even delving into purchasing a tool. Now, some of the important steps to develop that ABM strategy are here listed. First and foremost, you definitely want to have organization alignment and buy-in. A lot of people will be like, oh, we need marketing and sales to be aligned. Well, my thought is on ABM strategy, you need the whole organization to be aligned. So you need buy-in from your execs. You need to be aligned with tech support. You need to be aligned with customer service. You need to be aligned with sales and marketing. Yes, those are very important. But as a whole, the whole organization needs to be aligned to the strategy. You're going to want to identify your ideal customer profile. So that's going to be important where you're identifying your different accounts, understanding who you're targeting, who are the buying committees for those accounts, what are the firmographics and demographics, what are the typical behaviors. It will be really important to dive into that. And then to add on to that, having some sort of like target account research around specifically the more high value accounts. You're also going to want to have some go to market. You'll also want to go to market with these accounts through the buyer's journey. So depending on where they are in the journey, how are you talking to them? What's the message? Are you providing them top of funnel content? Are you providing them middle of funnel content? Are you providing them bottom of funnel content? It's really important to make sure not only you know who they are, but where they are within your buyer's journey. When you're speaking to them and sending out messages, you want to be able to personalize that content based on the target account research you did. And then lastly, of course, you want to measure and optimize your overall performance to make sure that your account-based marketing strategy is a success, and then always optimize as you need in areas where you may need to improve. As we go through the different components of target account management tool, I'll be calling out some of these key ABM strategy areas because, again, it's really important to have an ABM strategy before you implement an ABM tool overall. Let's talk about some of the target account management components. So we'll start with the admin configurations. So in Marketo, there are some, outside of just adding target account management users, there are 4 major components to work through. And I feel like these components aren't just for the admin. This really does tie back to that strategy piece where you're going to want some organizational alignment around some of these areas. And they really tie back to those key areas I talked about just a little while ago as it pertains to alignment, ideal customer profile, go to market through the buyer's journey, and measure and optimize performance. Now, the first one here is account scoring. This is pretty cool in Marketo. This will be done in the admin section. It looks like this here. And basically, you're going to have the ability to create 5 different account scores. Some examples of these account scores is engagement score. How well is that account engaging in your stuff? There's an ICP score. How well does that account fit under your ideal customer profile? There is things I've seen like MQL score or demo score or product interest score. So this is really customizable, but keep in mind you only have 5. The way that they work is it will take essentially a scoring field in Marketo, so like a behavior score or a demographic score, and it will sum up the total of those scores of the people within that account, and then it will fit that account into a percentile perspective of where it fits against other accounts. So engagement score will usually be based off the behavior score field. ICP score would usually be based off the demographic score field. MQL score, that would be something a little bit more custom where you would want an operational program in Marketo creating that score every time somebody MQLs, and then you can overall see how many MQLs have come in for that specific account. I've also seen clients create specific like product interest scores so they can identify how interested they are in one product and then what's the possibility of upselling, cross-selling into another product. So really interesting way to go about scoring. Again, you really want to talk internally with your sales team and your organization on what matters the most, and really identify how that scoring is going to impact where they are within the buyer's journey, of course. The next area that's important is what we call personas. So the persona, you have up to 3 groups, but don't let Marketo fool you because they actually have like a default group already set up for you. So you actually only really have 2 examples of personas that you can create. So the first one that's set up for you by default is the title. So you can look at an account and you will have the ability to see of the people on that account, how many are C-suite. Of the people of that account, how many people are directors. Of the people on that account, how many are managers, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can create 2 additional other personas, and you can base those on custom pick list fields that you had created in Salesforce and synced down into Marketo. So a couple different ones that I have seen have been product interest again. So of the people on that account, how many are interested in a specific product? I've seen region created, a region pick list of a specific account, how many people are within a specific region. And then, of course, it could be as custom as you guys see fit. And it would, again, be based on a custom Salesforce pick list field that syncs down into Marketo. The last piece here is really around the account teams and the reports that you're going to be sending to those teams. So this is where the measure and optimize performance plays in. So with the account teams, this is going to be based on owner fields, custom owner fields. So you may have an account owner, you may have a project manager on certain accounts because they're so big. You may have a marketing person on that account because, again, it's so big. You may even have like an executive sponsor. So you may want to create these account teams so that they all have insight into these accounts and in the appropriate areas, such as sales insights or within the reports that you set up to go out on a weekly, daily, whatever basis you choose. So it's really a good setting to make sure that the account teams have insight into the accounts that you guys are really targeting. So those are the 4 major admin configurations you want to consider. Next is identifying your target accounts. So there are tools within Marketo that not only help you identify target accounts, but also help you discover within the tool. And this is where the AI, the fun AI stuff, and some of the great things that are coming out in the future that I'm super excited about is they're going to incorporate Adobe Sensei, and also I heard a rumor around having them bring in a version of Adobe Journey Optimizer into Marketo for B2B, which I'm super excited about. So with that all said, the first thing you're going to want to do when you're bringing in your named accounts is pick out of the 4 options how you're going to bring them into Marketo. So we have, you can bring them in through your CRM accounts. You can bring them in through your Marketo company. So if you're not even connected to a CRM, you can discover accounts right in Marketo just through the company name. You can import a list of named accounts, and then you can create a named account manually. So there are 4 ways. My best practice and my recommendation is always to bring them in from CRM, specifically Salesforce, because if you bring them in from Salesforce, you're essentially bringing all that information in from Salesforce. So you're going to get pipeline data, you're going to get all that cool information that you keep on accounts over on the left-hand side of the dashboards when you have your account set up. It's really, in my mind, the best option. I'm all about having like mirror database. What's in Marketo is in Salesforce and vice versa. So the more that you can bring things in from Salesforce, to me, is better. But if you can't, there's always business cases why that can't happen. You have other options. If you are importing your named accounts, you want to make sure to include the Salesforce ID of those accounts so that again, it ties it to the records or the accounts within Salesforce. Now, the account profiling and account discovery, these are really cool, but they're add-ons. They're not included with the basic target account management tool. These are areas that will help you identify your ideal customer profile and then be able to see really easily what other accounts within the tool are aligned to your ICP. It also is where the AI comes into play, where once you have your ICP in place, it will automatically bucket people into categories on how well that company fits into your ICP. And maybe those specific companies should be part of your overall account methodology or account strategy, basically. So again, this is a tool. It's not a strategy. You're still going to have to identify what your ideal customer profile is. You're going to want to do your target account research, but these tools within Marketo are going to help you identify those really important accounts for you. We have targeting and segmentation for personalization. So what's really great about the target account management tool is once you upload your name accounts, you can then create what we call account lists, and you can further segment different lists. So if you have a tiered account strategy where you have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, you can create those lists within the account list area. Now, I will say, in all honesty, to create those account lists, it can be a little bit manual in nature where you're going and you're finding certain accounts and you're marking, okay, this should be on this account list, this one should be on this other account list, et cetera, et cetera. There are filtering tools in the account-based marketing tool, or I'm sorry, the target account management tool. But again, it's still going to be a little bit manual. I'm all about removing the manual work and moving towards more automation, right? That's what marketing automation is for. So I always recommend trying to create your account list using dynamic account lists. Now, you may think, okay, is that a smart list? No, it's not. It's actually a list view that you create in Salesforce, and that list view is viewable by the Marketo sync user. So the Marketo sync user can see that view. So when you create a new dynamic list down here, you're going to see the list of different Salesforce views that are available to the Marketo sync user. So again, to make it so it's not manual, always go with the dynamic account list. It's definitely the way to go. Now, segmentations isn't necessarily part of the target account management tool, but it's an important piece for personalization, of course, because you can't do dynamic content in your messaging without segmentations. So the cool thing, though, with the target account management tool is within those segmentations, you're going to have the ability to have new account list or part of a named account filters where you can create those segments so you're talking to people a little bit differently throughout your different messaging. So of course, this all ties back to those strategy pieces of target account research, going to market through your buyer's journey. Where are they in the journey and how are you speaking to them? And of course, personalizing your content and messaging. The last piece here is about data management and reporting. So just like anything within Marketo, it's really important to keep your accounts organized in order to get the best output of reports. So a lot of people ask, how does Marketo go about matching leads to accounts? So the way that Marketo goes about that is it will look at three main things. It will look at the email domain, it'll look at the inferred company domain that's gathered through the IP address, and it will also look at the overall company name that people self-fill out. What it does then is it will look at that and it will see if it's a strong match versus a weak match. I believe a strong match would be that they match two of those three things. A weak match is they only match with one of those three things. When it's a weak match, it won't necessarily associate that person to an account, but it will put it into the account on a tab called potential people. And unfortunately, this is another manual thing that you may want to look into, that potential people tab when you're looking at the account dashboard. I'll show you where it is in a moment here. And you can go in and you can say, yes, this person is part of this account. Yes, this person. Now, again, that's manual in nature. I'm all about taking the manual work out and making it more automated. So with that, what you may want to do is create a target account data management campaign where Marketo will automatically add those folks into associate those folks to an account. Now, if you have thousands and thousands of accounts, that's not really feasible. So I would recommend only doing that for like the top 5 accounts that are most important to you. Now over here, you're going to see the dashboard. This is the dashboard you'll see when you first log into Marketo. You're going to see how many named accounts are there, how many have open opportunities, how much pipeline is in there. And you're going to see the individual accounts based on pipeline overall, right? Now, there's other things you can look at with that pipeline. Basically, what you're going to want to do is you're going to see a list of the account lists that you create. So you can look at it based on those specific account lists versus looking at all accounts. When you click on a specific account in this dashboard here, you're going to get an overview over here, which is great. You're going to see what their account score is, where they're scoring from a percentile perspective, how many open opportunities, how many people are associated to that account, some activity or intent activity. One thing that's important about this activity though, because I've seen some clients where they didn't really see much activity, but it was because the people on that account were cookied. So it's really important that when you have a targeted account, you do some sort of tagging campaign to those people part of that account so that they're cookied and you're able to see things like email activity, open rate, web activity, really be able to see some of that intent data as far as like what they're engaging in and stuff. This is a image of the actual account dashboard. So when you actually go into an account, this is an exact example of Acme Corp. And this is really going to show you all the details that you need to know about that account. So over here on the left-hand side, you're going to get some information from Salesforce. Over here in the middle, you're going to get some account score information, how many people are associated, and pipeline. You're going to, if you have multiple different scores, you can see how those scores are trending overall and where they are from a percentile perspective. You're going to see account activity, and then you're going to see top 10 people down here at the bottom. Over here, which is really cool, is you're going to see in real time all of the different interesting moments for that account and what they're doing. Up at the top here, you're going to have some tabs. This is the tabs I was telling you guys about earlier. This is the potential people tab where you'll see people that are a weak match, but not necessarily a full match. So you may want to go in there and manually make sure that they're part of account, or if you have a data management campaign, you would use that. And that's pretty much the dashboards. You're going to have a lot of information with this, and it's really good information overall. Another thing I want to mention with the lead to account matching, if you're using a tool like Lean Data, you can actually have the account matching be based off the Lean Data. It's just a matter of working with support a little bit, and they can update that. So the lead to account matching is based on what you have set up in Lean Data versus using the fuzzy matching that Marketo has. So that's a good call out to make sure everybody knows and is aware of. So where this lies in the strategy perspective is how are you going to look at these dashboards and measure your accounts from other accounts? What are you going to consider success? What are the measurements you're going to use to say, okay, we need to adjust things? And then overall being able to optimize the performance of those accounts. So really important piece here. Actually, they're all really important in my mind. So let's talk about some of the best practices we talked about. So remember that target account management is a tool. It's not a strategy. You need to identify your strategic plan for ABM before implementing target account management. Admin configurations need to be set up by an admin, but there are a lot of decisions that need to be made from a strategic perspective. So before those settings are made, make sure you're having those internal conversations. Using the CRM accounts to bring in your named accounts is the best option for bringing them in. Limit the number of accounts you create data management campaigns for. Again, you don't want to go and make 1,000 different data management campaigns. Use your judgment. Make sure you're only doing that for a small amount. We don't want to we want to make sure there's efficiencies within Marketo. So we don't want to overload people on creating different data management campaigns. To add another additional layer, I think I saw somebody in the chat mention something about 6 Sense. In my mind, Marketo target account management can work well with something like a 6 Sense. 6 Sense, you're going to have additional layer of intent data based on keywords and some of the advertisings that you're doing through 6 Sense. 6 Sense also has that predictive model. Those fields are fields that are going to be in Salesforce through 6 Sense can come into Marketo, and you can use some of those fields for some of your things like account scoring. You can use some of those fields within some of your list views for the accounts. I have had clients that I've worked with in the past that have used both Marketo target account management and 6 Sense, and it worked really well for them. So I don't think it's something you would use separately. I think you can use them together for sure. And then I'm going to open up the floor for questions.
Well, yeah, Beth, we do have a few questions, and I think you answered this one kind of right at the tail of it, but is 6 Sense a direct competitor of Marketo target account management?
I think Marketo would think it is, but like I said, I think you can use them together for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then I want to tie back a couple of earlier questions. So please keep loading in the questions in the chat. That's perfectly fine. That works for me. Amanda Susan was asking, does the number of contacts within an account overstate the account score? So could that potentially inflate it based on the number of contacts?
It could potentially, depending on what other accounts you have in there. I would assume the accounts you're going after all have about the same number. If not, and it's really different, you may want to consider putting them in separate account lists or what have you.
Awesome. Follow-up question from Carla. How do you use 6 Sense and target account management together? So I know you mentioned they work well together, but collaboratively, what does that look like? And maybe where are the strengths and complements to each one of those?
So Marketo doesn't have a succinct way to to base things off of keywords like Sixth Sense does. It also, Sixth Sense has its own advertising network that they're advertising through. So I have seen clients use that intent data along with some of the predictive modeling in Marketo as well. So like I said, those fields within Sixth Sense are also in Salesforce and usually sync down into Marketo. And you can use those fields within some of your account list views. You can use those fields within some of your account scoring in Marketo. So I've seen people use them in tandem, and it worked really well for them.
Something kind of a follow-up question from my end. If somebody was using Marketo Engage with Sixth Sense, which we often see, what would be the biggest value add they could get in the short term or long term by incorporating something like target account management alongside it?
So with target account management, my thought there is it is a tool that, again, is going to help you manage, measure, all that good stuff, where I think Sixth Sense has an element to that, but combining them is just going to make it 10 times overly powerful. And in Marketo, you can actually target your ABM accounts that you're managing and using those Sixth Sense fields within some of those views within the tool itself. So there's all different ways you can go about it for sure.
Awesome.
And it's just going to come down to strategy overall.
Yeah, I think that is a big takeaway, at least from where I'm sitting across your entire presentation. Was strategy is going to be the core foundation of what kind of informs some of this. And I think I really like how you hit on that, because the tool is the tool, and a lot of people, for example, even with Marketo Engage, it's not going to solve your marketing operations problems. It's not going to solve your email problems unless there's a strategy and
Right.
a mindset behind that's driving it. So yeah, no, spot on. Anthony asked, is there a price range for the tool? I think I could answer this. Anthony, I'll probably say we don't really have that information in front of us, but reach out to your Marketo rep and see if you could work with them. 9 times out of 10, Marketo is really responsive. Adobe's really responsive and able to give a really competitive rate for the different tools that exist in the platform. So if you're already using Marketo Engage, it's something that the team is onboarded. I would definitely reach out and see what they could do with you guys to at least let you try out the tool and maybe implement it down the line. All right. Well, yeah, any other questions from anyone that's on chat? We're happy to hang out for a couple more minutes and answer some more.
Also, if you guys are interested, these are some potential upcoming topics for future mugs or marketer user groups. Getting started with dynamic chat. The use case for program member fields. This is a new thing in Marketo that I think they launched a couple years ago, but I don't see many people using them, and they're very powerful. And 3 things you need in Marketo for the best output of reports. So those are potential topics I was thinking of. And of course, I'll be brainstorming with Akande on other topics. But if you guys have thoughts, feel free to put them in the chat as well.
Awesome. Well, no, I think that's stellar. If there's no more questions, then we'll just wrap it up and allow everybody to get back to their regularly scheduled programming. But thank you so much, Beth, for leading out on this. Super insightful. Really loved it. And yeah, we look forward to having you guys for future mugs.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Bye now.